Well, I've arrived, I'm all parked up, I've driven up in the rain and it's peed it down all the way, but as you can see from the beautiful skies around me, it's absolutely stunning. So very lucky. So I'm about 1.25 miles into the walk now, got off the roads onto the track finally, and absolutely glorious. Should maybe put my lightweight hiking trousers on, but then it's going to be quite chilly on the tops, down to about 3 to 5 degrees tonight, so I don't want to carry them both, and these are down to shorts, which is a bonus. So I'll just give you a quick whirl of the area. A few clouds in the sky, it's supposed to be like this all night. It's cracking, it's so warm, and I forgot my sun cream. Look how blue that sky is, green that grass, it's fantastic. So even got my sunshades, sunglasses on, so must be good, eh? Okay, so I'm not quite at the top yet, but as you can see, just in the distance, that is the summit of High Street. I made quite good time really, and it's a bit early to set up camp when I get there. Well, assuming it doesn't take me hours to get there, but it's a bit early to set up camp, so I might have a wander over to Kitty Pike, just a little bit further. Plus, if possible, I could do with maybe getting some water from a water source. I've got enough, but I kind of wanted a little bit more, and then I can use my filter. But I haven't seen any streams for a bit, so at this rate, I could be using one of these puddles. But that's what the water filter's there for. Well, I'd rather not. So watch this space. Okay, so I'm now at the top. This is right at the top of High Street. It's pretty chilly up here, so I'd put my fleece on. But cracking views all around of all the lakes. It's just, you know, I need to zoom in really, I can't on this, but some cracking views. So I'm at the very top, a bit windy, not worried about the tent not being able to hold up, but just I'd rather pitch in a bit more sheltered spots. I'm going to have a bit of a wander around because it's only, the time is 6 o'clock, so there's still people about really, so don't want to be pitching for maybe another 45 minutes to an hour at least. I mean, it's fairly quiet, but so I'll have a wander. I've seen a couple of places that look like they might be good in the sun and a bit lower down, hopefully out of the wind. So still not pitched, decided to go a little bit further because I just didn't fancy top of High Street. I don't know, I wasn't feeling it. So I've hit a couple of other peaks, just about to hit this one, and I'm really hoping the other side it flattens out a bit, because according to the map it does. I'm just going to dump the tent there because I'm getting a bit tired now and it's 7:15, so I'm ready to get my tent up, have a chill, get my tea on, have a brew, and with a bit of luck get some nice sunset photography. So we shall see what we shall see. Well, I've arrived and set the tent up a bit later than expected. Just couldn't find somewhere I really liked. And then when I found a place I liked, there was a few people camping there. Didn't want to like kind of step on anybody's toes. And I was trying to find the perfect pitch. And I'll be honest with you, I still haven't found the perfect pitch. But I thought if I keep on walking, I'm getting further and further away from the car. So tomorrow's going to be like a hell of a hike. I've already walked about 9 miles, 10 miles. I was planning on walking out 4 or 5, so I've done a bit longer than expected. Not got the best pitch in the world, but it's a little bit sheltered because it's a bit breezy up here. Tent's up, and you can see just over there, nice views of Windermere. Nice views over there. Don't know what that is over there, but hopefully I'll get the sun first thing in the morning. But I was hoping to get a sunset, but that's the way it is at the moment. It's coming a bit cloudy over there. So it's not looking like I'm going to get any sunset pictures. It's a shame, but it's not the main reason I do it. It's just one of the added bonuses. Still quite pretty. So just getting a brew on. I was doing some time lapse, but I was making a brew with this camera. And I came out the tent just to check on it, and it had fallen over. So I don't know how much I got. We'll see. But I'm also doing some on my phone up there. I can just see it. So, but again, the sunset is not out of special. But you never know. Time lapse looks pretty cool regardless of sunset. So I think that's Windermere down there. Could be wrong. Pretty sure it is. I say I've walked way further than I was expecting, so I'm kind of on unknown territory, as it were. Oh, goes up. Tell you what, it's not right warm up here. Now I've got on the tops and the sun's gone in. It says the temperature could get down to about 3 to 5 degrees tonight, which I'll admit is the coldest I'll have been out in. But it's not so much the sleeping, because my sleeping bag's super warm and everything, and I've got my thermals to keep me warm. It's just the pottering about and making your brews and stuff. It's like, it's just, it is what it is. I'm not sure if that's a moan. Am I moaning? Not moaning. But I'll be glad to get in. To be honest, glad to get in my sleeping bag tonight. All toasty, and just drop off because the wind's just very light, and I don't think it's going to get worse overnight. So I should be able to sleep pretty well. Fingers crossed. There's no superstorms in the middle of the night. So I'm just making my tea. Just had a brew. I'm still having a brew. Boiling some water up. Tonight's treat is macaroni cheese, but I can't really come, being a meat eater, apologies to those who aren't, being a meat eater I can't come on a camper trip without having some meat. So in this bag I've got some pepperami minis I'm going to chop up and put into it as well, just to fill me up, because I've walked up more than double what I planned today, so I've deserved some Jaffa cakes. I have to tell you this though, it's pretty chilly up here now. The sun's gone in. I don't know what the temperature is. In fact, I've got a little temperature gauge that I'm going to put on the outside of my tent. It feeds back to my watch. So I shall put that on shortly and get some temperatures. But it's set to go down to about 3 to 5 degrees tonight, which is fine when I'm in my sleeping bag. But when you're pottering about making your tea and outside your tent, it's a little bit on the chilly side. So I've had my tea. I had macaroni cheese freeze-dried meal by Summit to Eat, and I have to say, really, really nice. Probably the best one I've ever tasted. So cheesy. You know, you wouldn't, if it had been given it to you in a restaurant, you'd have been like, this is the best macaroni cheese I've ever tasted. Really, really nice. And it's now time is 10:15, so I'm going to have a hot chocolate. And I'm thinking about turning into music, because having walked a lot further than I expected, and also not slept last night particularly,
I'm absolutely knackered. I've done some right hills today.
So I'm going to have this hot chocolate egg, excuse me,
and then I'm going to turn in. So I think if I don't see you before, I'll see you possibly in the morning. So I've fixed up my temperature gauge. It's just on the guy rope outside. And I've just checked the temperature and it's dropped to 8.3 degrees. So it looks like it might be chilly tonight, because it's only going to get colder through the night, isn't it? And it's set to get to about 3 to 5 degrees, which I'm not fine because I'm, cosy in my tent and my lovely sleeping bag. So I should have a good night's sleep, all being well, as long as the wind keeps relatively low. So if I don't see you before, I shall see you in the morning.
Good morning. Well, it's now 7:15. I had a bit of a sleep in today. I've had a really good night's sleep actually. I've got some earplugs in. It has been a bit windy, so I've got some really good earplugs that block out like most of the noise, and so I've been able to have a really good night's sleep. It helped that I was actually knackered, having walked so far yesterday. So I won't lie, I could do it in a few more hours, but don't want to be here too long, with the tent being in a tent in a place where people may see it if they get out walking, so don't want to upset anybody. So I'm going to get up, have a brew, have a bit of breakfast, which today will be either Jaffa cakes or a Boost. All the chocolate bars and biscuits are available, and then I'll pack up and get gone. It looks like the sun's come out, but it is still quite chilly. Got down to 4 degrees last night, so quite cold out, but again, been toasty in the tent. Sleeping bag did the job. Excuse me, but yeah, I've had a really nice, warm, comfy night's sleep last night. It was really good, much better than last week. And the fact that I had earplugs in made a massive difference, so it's definitely the way forward.
So I've had my brew and my Jaffa cakes. I didn't film that because I didn't get me that interesting. But what I've done is, on the way up yesterday I was running a bit short of water. Didn't manage to find a running water source, which is unfortunate. Bad planning on my part. But there was a small tarn, so I collected a load of water in this bottle. You can see it's not completely filthy, it's obviously a bit slightly different colour. But I've used my water filter, which I've featured in previous videos. It's a copy of the Sawyer Mini, I believe, and it's just called a Mini Well, Chinese knockoff. Does exactly the same job as most of these knockoffs do, in fairness. But just to be on the safe side, I've just boiled a load up, which I'll allow to cool down before I put back in my water in a separate water bottle, to carry on the way down. Just to, well, simply because I've got a lot further to walk than I thought I'd had. So the filter generally will get out rid of. Bring you back. The filter brings out, gets out most of the crap, but just to be on the safe side, give it a, if you're not 100% confident, give it a boil. If it's not running water, just to be on the safe side. So I boiled it up. There's just short of a litre there. Should see me back down to the car, or at least back down to the next running water source, which I can again filter through. Should be okay. So hopefully that'll help me survive and I won't die of exposure up on here. But, away much quicker than it took me to put up, and that is all I've left. It's a little bit of black grass, so nobody would know I was here. The only thing I haven't put back is the sheep poo that I've licked out of the way. So I'm sure people will forgive me for that. So it's partly back the way I came up that hill, so better get a wriggle on.
that's the first night in my new tent done, the Hilleberg Soulo. So I thought I'd give you my first impressions really. Obviously it's not really been tested because it was windy last night, but it wasn't anything like the kind of wind that any normal tent can cope with. I'd read online quite a few, well, everybody raves about it more often than not. It's Hilleberg are like the guys, the tent makers. That's why they charge so much. But I had read a lot of reviews about saying there's been a lot of condensation inside, so much to the, you know, actually in the inner fly, it's like the sleeping quarters, so much so that people's sleeping bags were wet, you know, more so that more wet than if it had been raining in, you know, and leaking through. I can only tell you what my experience is after one night. It was warm through the day, and then obviously the temperatures dropped through the night, which creates condensation anyway, and obviously there's your own breath. I didn't have any vents open last night. The outer fly, the two front doors, were fairly wet. I had to give it a wipe down with a sponge. It's water from my brew. Wipe down with a sponge, but not any more than I'd expect. You know, obviously it's your own body temperature creating heat going onto a cold surface. It's basic science. Says Mr. I didn't take science. Yeah, so it's basic science that you're going to create condensation. However, the inner tent, bone dry, absolutely bone dry. It was a little bit flappy, which is my little pet peeve, but I kind of think it's just all tents really. You know, they are only hanging from the outer tent, so they're never pegged down, so they're always going to catch that breeze. But like I say, I had earplugs in last night, so I use ear molds that I go swimming in, so they are really good, totally block out 99% of noise. So even when I could see it visibly flapping, I couldn't hear a thing, and I slept like a baby last night. So cosy, honestly. I've had one of the best night's sleep ever in a tent, I think, and I'm not a great sleeper, but I think that was helped by the fact that I hiked so far during the day. So yeah, back to the tent. I can't fault it so far. Easiest to put up. It's the first time I've put it up, so other than in my front room. So you get more used to it, don't you? But I initially put it up and forgot to put the footprint underneath the ground sheet, so I had to unpeg it and redo it. But other than that, it would have taken me less than 10 minutes to put up. I reckon after a few more times of putting it up, it'd be a 5-minute job if that. So so far, massive thumbs up. I can't fault it. It's a cracking looking tent. I posted some pics online where I put up my tent last night on Facebook. A lot of people were saying it's a great tent, great colour. It's that green, it's a really dark green. It sets off really well with the gold poles. I would have loved a red one, but as I plan to mainly do sort of stealthy wild camping, drawing attention to yourself with a big bright red blob is not a great idea, as much as I would love to. If I could afford to, I'd buy another one and have a red one for normal camping. To be honest, I won't be doing much normal camping now. I've discovered now I've adapted to wild camping because I love it. And that is just about it. That hill was incredibly hard to come down. It was very steep on all the grass, very little grip, just a little bit skiddy as the grass was a bit wet. So took me longer to come downhill than it would have gone. Took me longer to come downhill than it would to walk up it. Okay, I'm back at the car. I will keep it brief because I've said quite a lot during the video if I haven't edited it out. Second wild camp, weather was so much better. New tent, performed well but wasn't put under any pressure. Earplugs, definitely the way forward. Had the best night's sleep I've ever had in a tent, even though it was very windy. And I've had a great time. So it's taken me a lot longer to get back to the car today. I took quite a long way around, which was quite hilly, and when I say hilly, it was like scrambling hills, and then coming back down the last hill was just very steep and grassy, and it was really hard work because it was just so steep. I just really struggled to get a grip, so it took me longer to get down the hill than it would have got up it, to be honest with you. So it's been a long trek back, but it means I've earned my lunch, so hopefully I'll be able to find a cafe on the way back and grab something to eat. It's a bit late for breakfast because I had a bit of a lie-in, and then it's taken me quite a long time to get back to the car. So I've definitely earned some reward food because I've done some right miles today and yesterday. So I'll sign off by saying, I know I'm going about wild camping like I'm the first person ever to do it, but since I discovered it, I absolutely love it. And if you haven't tried it, you really should give it a shot. Just getting up in the mountains, being on your own, in the tent, it's just, I can't even tell you how good it is. Just so peaceful. Just resets you, you know, ready for next week at work. So I'll leave it there. So as always, take care out there. See you later.